Welcome back to another episode of Free Dive Podcast. I'm Kristy.
I'm Anna-Lynn.
We're so happy you're here. We're happy to be here, aren't we?
We are feeling a little extra today.
Today, Anna-Lynn had the very good idea of wearing our fur, our faux fur.
This might be real because I bought it in a vintage shop and pretty sure it's real. Don't come after me, please.
No fake blood. Mine is a 100p fake.
I was either going to bury it or wear it.
I see.
You know?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I'm cold all the time.
Yeah.
So it's, women's winter.
That's
in
right.
The basement.
That
office
is exactly
here.
what it is.
So
yeah.
I thought, I'm not going to bury it just yet. I'm going to use it for my old bones.
Women's winter came upon us quickly.
Yeah, I don't like it. We went straight from winter when it's freezing down here to women's winter, and it's like, is my life winter now? Like, when did that happen?
That's what it is.
This is the winter of my life.
We have to always be prepared to be freezing down here.
So
we're in fur.
Yeah. And it just felt like that kind of day.
Yeah. What she didn't prepare me was that she was also going to wear full velvet.
I am.
And pleather as well.
Also vintage. Yeah, I'm kind of a hot mess today.
I am mostly black with you today, though.
I know, I love it.
Sneakers, but
I'm having an influence.
We are. Okay, here's what everyone should know. We are very quickly adopting each other's influences. And
it's great.
I think it's for the better.
I do too.
You know, we're making our way onto the boys.
Yeah. What's
that? Soon Tim will have tinsel in his hair.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure what you meant by that at first.
Tim will have tinsel in his hair. Bill will come in with glitter nails.
Oh, he's going to be in fur.
Yes.
He was eyeing this when he came down earlier.
I can picture that.
I feel like maybe I should watch out and make sure this is with me at all times because I feel like he might steal it.
Yeah.
For his 1 p.m. call.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes everyone's like, wow, the girls are being super extra. I too wish I could be super extra.
It's good peer pressure.
It is.
Really.
I don't know why people don't take advantage of coming into the office just dressing up for the occasion. I am a take advantage of dress for the occasion kind of gal. You know what I mean? And I don't understand people who are very square and don't get excited for the dress up.
Well, I'm glad that we have a company culture where we can just wear what makes us happy.
Yeah.
And I mean, within reason. Nobody's coming in clown suits or
I would if I wanted to.
You would, actually. But you don't have to sit in on client meetings.
True.
I'm not going to sit in with our, major insurance clients and crazy.
Yeah.
This is probably much, but I feel like I could get by with it.
That's what I'm saying. I go up to
I go as far close as I can.
The bathroom in the business park with pride in whatever crazy outfit I'm wearing, and I'm just turning heads and don't care. Yeah.
Wear what makes you happy.
Yeah. So
anyway, that's what we're doing today.
Anyway, that's what we're doing today.
We had to preface this because, this is a little different than how we've dressed in the past.
Maybe our viewers will also start adopting our lifestyle.
Hey, we're here to help.
Yeah, join us on this happy lifestyle of fake nails
and see how the
all black everything and glitter and fake fur or real fur
or real
whatever.
Yeah,
it's a happier life, in my opinion. So
speaking of happy things,
yes,
and happier marketing,
yes,
we wanted to talk about humor in marketing today.
That's our topic today.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like an old adage, everybody talks about how, sex sells in marketing and advertising and boring. Boring. Give me something funny and intelligent. I will give you all my money.
That's right.
It's
so true. Marketing works on me.
Doesn't it work on all of us to some degree?
Listen, everybody, anyone who follows our social media had the whole thing about me and my Celsius and
Yes.
how, okay, it was okay, the whole can being it's all healthy for you and whatever, and it's partially a joke and partially not. But
I'm really worried about
people were
you.
commenting. Some of my friends and whoever were commenting, like, "Man, marketing works on Kristy, right?" Because
it's a health drink.
it's a health drink. It's not, and we all know that.
It has biotin in it. It's good for your hair.
It makes you lose fat, and it makes you just a better person.
Yeah, no.
But I mean, at face value, I'm not gonna lie. The first time I saw that, I was like, "Wow, it is a healthier energy drink. It's pink.
Yeah.
It is pink. I have to have it." So marketing works for all kinds of reasons, and humor is one of the reasons.
Yeah.
And it definitely works on me. But
me too. Yeah.
But like, why? That's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
And done the right way.
Yes, because it can go horribly wrong, and we're going to talk about that too. We thought it would be fun to talk about examples that we both like. There was one campaign, I don't know how many people have seen it. It's been everywhere, but Bounce fabric softener sheets. They have this campaign, and the first time I heard it, I just about died because I was like, this is brilliant. The tagline is, "It's the sheet."
Yes.
It's genius. Like, it is so spot on and hilarious.
Right.
And the reason why it's so good is it's just relatable. It's taking something like most people in the world think profanity is funny, or they use it every day. It's just a common part of language for a lot of people. And so basing your tagline on something that it's instantly going to just make you smirk because you're like, oh my God, they went right to the line.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's working.
They literally are Bounce sheets.
Right.
So it's like, we're not saying it.
They're not saying anything untrue.
But it's edgy.
It's true. It's edgy. It's clever.
It's just edgy. It's just edgy enough.
Right. It's just enough. And it's something that most people are just going to be like, oh, that's funny. And it's that kind of play on words that I think just sparks everybody's imagination. And there's just an immediate response to it because you immediately get what they're trying to say,
right?
What they're connecting to.
Yeah.
And, just about everybody has used that phrase. So it works really well.
Yeah.
And they're not saying anything.
They have not said anything.
Right.
They have not said any profanity. They haven't said anything hurtful.
Right.
And they have not said anything that hurts.
It just creates a mental bridge. And it's just really clever. It's such a good example of when marketing gets humor right.
Right. Yeah.
You had one too that you liked.
The other one that's actually very similar is the Kmart one, the commercial that is that we ship your pants.
Yeah.
And everyone, all the families, and like even the grandmas, and I haven't seen it in a while, but it's all like, we can ship your pants. We ship pants, like, yeah. And it's the same thing. It's it's just like, we're not saying it, you're saying it.
Right. Yeah. It walks that line.
But you remember that they do shipping.
Right.
So it puts it, it's like, I'll permanently remember now that Kmart does shipping.
Right. And like, I'll remember Bounce sheets if I think of fabric softener.
Right. That they have.
Right.
That they have the fabric sheets.
Right.
And so it's just this little, what's the word I want? It puts it in your head. It makes you remember. So it forces you to remember. And at the same time, it's just this cute little quirky.
Yeah.
But again, not hurting anyone.
It's clever, but it's marketing at the same time.
Yeah.
And it puts your product in people's brains and makes it stick.
Now, to be fair, there might be that small part of your audience that is like, that's inappropriate.
Right.
Don't like that. That's swearing. That's profanity.
Yeah.
I know what they mean by that. I mean, there's going to be risk with anything like that.
Right.
It's probably going to be smaller than the bigger part of your audience that's going to be like either just like whatever, or the bigger part that's like, that's silly, that's funny.
Right. Some people are going to roll their eyes and be like, okay.
Right.
Dad joke.
You
know?
Yeah.
And then other people, the majority of people would probably be like, wow, okay, that's clever.
Right.
And really listen and remember about the product. And it'll be successful for them. And then there'll be that smaller audience where they'll just be like, do we have to go there? Do we have to? And, maybe it's not the kind of marketing we would do or everybody would do. Like, it's not something you can do with any kind of product or client. But we wanted to highlight it because it's just it's an example of clever marketing, of using humor in a way that connects with a very specific audience. They went after a very specific audience with these. You can tell that they are maybe trying to speak to that younger demographic.
Yeah. But it's also like everyone, universally everybody finds humor funny, like and so
in inappropriateness. Even if you're not a fan of being inappropriate, you can still appreciate the humor.
This is popping into my mind. Like in this moment, it's making me think of anytime I would go to my mother's house for like this was last year or whatever, she'd be like, "Have you seen the poop commercial?" And I'm like, "No, what are you talking about?" And she was talking about it for like a month, about this commercial about women being like, I poop or something. And it was for like a probiotic. And it was just this very goofy commercial about women all being like, and I poop too. It's like,
I don't remember
it's
that.
all of these like proud pooping women.
Nice.
And my mom was so shocked by it, but also thought that it was so funny that she permanently now remembers that probiotic or something.
So it still worked. It was still effective.
And my
marketing.
mom also does not like inappropriate things. 0%.
Yeah.
She doesn't think like pooping is funny.
There's some things you just don't talk about.
Like she's from that generation of like inappropriate things are not funny. But this commercial where like they were all like in the commercial, like sitting on the toilet being like, I poop too.
Wow.
And she was like, it's so funny, Kristy. She couldn't stop talking about this commercial. And I'm like, yes, you've told me about this commercial so many times. I don't care. And then she'd be like, oh my gosh, everyone shut up. The pooping commercial's on. Mom.
Wow.
So, if it's funny or dumb enough, it sticks with people. Even people, who don't normally find dumb, inappropriate things like that funny, she'll always remember that probiotic now.
So if you have clients that you're marketing for, and there is room for humor, I think some of the key things you have to remember is what audience you're speaking to very specifically.
Yes.
I mean, that's true across with any marketing, but you have to be especially careful with humor. I know that we have had occasions in the past with a couple different clients that we've had where they were like, oh yeah, let's do something funny. And they tried to inject humor. They threw some ideas at us and we were like,
yeah.
Ooh, no,
No.
we can't, that could go wrong. So you have to think about how it'll land. Like, if it lands well, great, but you really have to be devil's advocate and think about, okay, flip side, how could this land wrong?
Who could be hurt
Who
by
could be
it?
offended by it? Are we going to be totally isolating a complete subset of our audience if we pursue this? Like, are we going to be needlessly offensive or needlessly offending anybody? So there's just so many things you have to consider with humor. You can't just take an idea and be like, oh, that's clever. Yeah, it probably is. But if it's not gonna, if you sit with it and debate it with your team, which should happen.
Yes.
There should definitely be extra meetings whenever you decide that you're going to take a humorous approach to
Something
anything.
risky.
Anything, even if it seems like a safe type of humor.
Yeah.
Like maybe we're not saying it's the sheet or I'm going to ship, they can ship my pants.
Right.
You know, if we're not saying something that close to the line, you still have to be so careful. And extra meetings, really sit with it, think about it, ask everybody on your team, have everybody thinking about it, looking at could there be legal ramifications if we take this too far? Are we going to lose a core part of the business for this client if we go in this direction? Are we going to completely undermine the loyalty that we have from, that this client has built up over time? Like, could this just take them down? So you have to really, really, really be careful and think about it and consider all those things.
Yeah.
Because there are plenty of examples of attempts by even big companies to use humor, and it just bombed.
Yeah. So one of them that I wanted to talk about was Burger King in the UK. And I feel like everyone will know this. If you don't, where have you been? And I think it was on Women's Day. Was it last year? Women belong in the kitchen. Tweet on Women's Day. Yikes. Hashtag
Just
yikes.
saying it. And you have to wonder what that round table was like when someone threw that out.
Who was like, send it.
Done.
Hit post. An idiot, probably.
Oof.
I'm just not. So here's my thoughts. So they did this to be edgy, to definitely because they knew it would go viral, right? They knew everyone would have a reaction to this.
Oh, yeah.
And so they put big risk on this to be seen.
Yeah.
Knowing there would be ramifications for that. And their purpose was for a scholarship women program for women. Okay. Kudos to you for culinary program or something.
Yeah.
To get women working in kitchens, like women belong in the kitchen working. Thanks, Burger King. Did you think about the millions of women, every woman, in fact, who has not heard their whole life, that they should get back in the kitchen?
And also coming out, I don't know how the timing lined up, but like women's rights were being debated in government in this country. And so, not in the UK, but worldwide, there was a lot of like things happening for women that weren't so great. And that many looked at it as it's setting us back, putting us back in the Stone Age or whatever, So to have that phrase trotted out at the same time.
It makes a mockery of, what women have always heard their whole life anyway. It's an easy joke that, it can be made against women all the time. And it's just, it didn't land.
It could have. I feel like maybe there was some potential there, but I don't think it was really thought through enough because there's, like we were saying, you have to think about how it's going to hit, and are you going to upset a huge part of your
most of the population of the world, probably.
Right.
Yes.
Correct. Do you really want to, upset all of your female customers, and specifically target them as you belong in the kitchen, so we're going to give you a culinary scholarship so you can stay there. I mean, granted, they probably thought they were encouraging women to work in the culinary field. And here we're providing an opportunity for you. We support women in the kitchen. but it wasn't using a phrase that was always derogatory.
Correct.
Always.
Correct.
There's never been a good version of that
right.
phrase.
Yeah.
So using it to try to spin something positive that you're doing, it was never going to fly.
It didn't work.
It was never going to work.
Didn't work.
Because you can't take a negative, really anti-feminine. You can't take something that's derogatory to a specific group of people and then be like, and we're going to use that as the slogan to be positive.
It's wild to me. Fully wild to me that a board sat down and talked about it and we're like, yep, do it.
I would be curious to know if there were women on that board.
Same.
Like, were there? I mean, maybe some felt that we are far enough progressed as a society to be more than that phrase, which, and thought they could take ownership of it and change it.
That's what always comes back in your face, right? Like, well, you could take a joke.
Yeah.
You sure can, of course. But do you think that we've not been the butt of that joke forever?
For decades.
And it's just like, no, not this time. Like, again, on Women's Day, and using it in a way, like, you're offering this nice program for women to be able to have an opportunity at this culinary scholarship. That's fantastic. And you could have made a really beautiful opportunity for women to, like, you could have promoted yourselves in such a nice way. And instead, in order to go viral, you led with something really, like you said, derogatory to get a lot of attention. And it just didn't get the attention that you were hoping for, at the expense of hurting a lot of people.
Right. You can't take that stance and then be like, well, that didn't go the way we thought.
And it's not it's not because women can't take the joke. Like, you better believe women have had to have tough skin with comments like that our whole lives. That's not it. But it's just kind of like, you're not going to get what you want out of that.
No.
And so, circling back to making jokes in marketing, it's kind of like, when you want to do that, you have to think, will this humor hurt a subset of people and then ultimately hurt my brand in the process?
Right, because they did some major backtracking to try to, save face with that whole campaign.
And ultimately lost money.
Yeah.
Lost customer base.
Yeah. And there's one thing to take a risk and to take a calculated risk. And when you are trying something new, there's always a risk that it's going to fail, or that you're not going to make money from it. That's part of marketing. Not everything is going to be a win, but you can hedge your bets a lot better than that.
Yeah.
And there could have been a humorous way to incorporate something about women working in a kitchen. There could have been.
Yeah.
Like I said before, there's potential there for there to be some smart wordplay.
Yeah.
But not using a phrase that's so derogatory and is going to just smack women in the face and be like, really, this is where we're at in 2023, or, so, and trying to take a derogatory statement and spin it as something different than what it is. That's so hard to get right.
Yeah.
It's not that it can't be done, but it just did not work in this instance.
Yeah.
So.
And so my takeaway is discuss more before you post. And like you asked, like, I wonder if there were women in on that conversation. If they were, they failed. They failed. And I would say, get a larger, different group in, and I'm just like, we ask in here, we tend to ask each other, like, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? Can you read this? Can you, like, I don't know.
When we were working with a client that they wanted to inject some humor, and it was about women
Yeah.
and particularly moms
Yes.
working in
Yes.
in an corporate setting or in an office. And I think, if I'm remembering right, with that client, we ended up scrapping the whole thing.
Yeah.
The whole humor angle,
The
because
humor angle. It was too
we
difficult with that
it
campaign.
was too it wasn't good timing for the company either. They weren't I feel like companies like Burger King, they're a bigger corporation. They're huge. Millions, probably billions of dollars. I don't keep up with how much these corporations are making or have, but their marketing, they have a lot of money to throw at it.
Yeah.
And they also are so big that they can take bigger chances. Like if they lose millions, yeah, it sucks, but it might not be as big of a bite out of their bottom line as it would be for a smaller company. And so this client of ours that wanted to inject some humor, and specifically um, speaking to women and about women, they were, just starting out, and we were like, this is not a territory you want to wander into when you're still trying to establish who you are, and be taken seriously.
Yeah.
And like, let's look at this.
So timing.
Let's pack it up for now. And then, in the future, when you've got a little more stability and a little more revenue, then let's look at introducing humor into marketing.
Yeah.
I think you just have to be extra careful.
Yeah.
Because you don't have the resources or the financial backing and just the presence, I think, to take those kind of chances when you're just starting out.
Yeah.
So I think as a marketer, you have to be aware of that. Sometimes you have to steer your client in a different direction if they're like, we want to be funny. And not always. Like with some, it depends on the industry that they're in. It depends on the vibe of their business. Like some people, they're all about humor, and then you can just run with it. And if they're known for that, I really love, I just ordered a product from Oat House. It's a company I hadn't heard of before, but I happened to like see their ad, and they make granola butter.
Okay.
And after I ordered, I got an email from the owner of the company, and it was so funny. And I want to find it because I thought it was so great. I'm like, this is how you let people know your personality and use humor, but you're not, let me find it.
You're making me think of one that I also saw on a website and wanted to read, if I can find it.
Okay. So it started here's and I'm sure it's automatically generated to everybody who orders from this company, especially if you're like a first-time purchaser.
This is your email that you got back?
Yeah, this is the email I got after I placed my order with Oat House. It says, welcome to the house party, housemates. We're so excited you're here. First things first, who the heck are you? Reply to this email letting us know a little bit about yourself. Who am I? And then she says, I'm the founder of Oat House. It's my mission to bring the fun back into eating. And the whole thing, what to expect. Over the next week, I'm going to share ups and downs of our journey. Each email will be an episode, like a little reality show. I promise it'll be anything but boring. And keep the party going by following us on Instagram and TikTok.
That's nice.
And then she's like, email me directly if you have any concerns, feedback, questions, and grateful you're here. I appreciate you. XO. And then she signs off. And I'm like, that is such a great way to inject humor into your interaction with your audience, and finding, you don't have to be like in your face when you're using humor in marketing. You can inject your persona or your personality into these interactions that you have with your audience, whether it's in an automated email situation or in your direct ads, yeah, you can, use humor there, but it's not your only opportunity to use it. And you can kind of flavor all of your interactions with your audience with humor, just in little touches, and it's still successful. Like, that made me smile. I was like, this is great. I really, really want to support this company. Like, I really hope I like their product. I haven't gotten it yet, but I really hope that we love it and that this is going to be someone we order from regularly, because I love the owner's personality. I love that that is how they're interacting with me.
Yeah, a real person.
It's funny. It's real. And so I think if that is your personality, if it's humorous, let it show. But do it in a respectful, way that's not gonna really turn off anybody. Like, there's a right and a wrong way to do it. And I thought that was just a neat, it's another aspect of having humor in your marketing.
This is one that I saw on when I was going to unsubscribe from something. And it says, "Hello, Kristy. Every time someone unsubscribes, a member of the Hawkers team jumps out of the window. It doesn't happen often, and the team is relatively large, so it doesn't make that much of a difference, but it kind of puts a downer on the day. Anyway, at least tell us why Karen has just cleared out her desk and given her cactus to Janet from finance." Then it says, a box to answer. "Do you want Karen to jump out of the window? No or yes?" And I'm like,
that is brilliant. I absolutely love that. Who is that again?
Hawkers.
So, like, that works.
Yeah.
Even though it's pretty morbid.
So
and dark.
do I want Karen to jump out of the window?
Of course not.
A little bit. But also, no. So, like, anyway, as a unsubscribe thing, I'm like, I've never forgotten this. I have had it screenshotted. I can't get it out of my phone now. So,
yeah.
Anyway, perfect example of humor, and it's pretty good.
And that one walks the line. I mean, again, just like the bounce sheet campaign, like, someone could be super offended by that unsubscribe message and be like, how dare you make a joke out of people jumping out windows?
True.
And like, yeah, but it's very obvious that they're not serious. It's done in a way that it's just cheeky. And it's a very clear, we're trying to pull on your heartstrings to keep you from leaving us.
It's just goofy.
And that someone would put that much effort into an unsubscribe message. I've never seen that.
It's just so goofy.
And that someone would just go there with it. It works. It's
so
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, these are just some good examples, a bad example. Ultimately, it's always a little bit of a risk when you want to be funny in your marketing, but
just be calculated in your risks.
And definitely always ask, I think, a lot of people, is this a hit or a miss?
Get your whole team involved.
Get your team involved. Are we going to hurt anybody with this?
And test it out.
Yeah.
Test it out on, like, when we've worked with clients trying to incorporate humor before, I would go home, test it out on my husband and run it by him. He's wickedly funny and very dark. So I'd be like, what do you think of this? And he'd be like, if he was like, a little too far, that was saying a lot. And, test it out with friends. What do you think of this? And kind of get a consensus and a feel for it. You have to think about your client. Is this the right client to use humor in our marketing? Is it the right audience? Do you have to be so specific and know exactly who your audience is, what they'll tolerate, and what they won't. So, and also think about your timing. Are you making a women's joke on Women's Day?
Right, yeah.
That could land really bad.
Yeah.
Might want to rethink that.
Yeah.
And think about not just using, if it is a client where the audience is right, the client is right, think about where in your marketing you can incorporate humor in a big way or also in little ways, like you in your automated email responses, unsubscribe messages, maybe empty cart messaging, any abandoned cart messaging, and any kind of follow-up. Not just think beyond just using a slogan on an ad, or it can be more than a tweet or a social post or a display ad. Like, think about where else you can incorporate humor. But I think if you can remember all of those things and think about all of those things, you can avoid a disaster, and you can have success.
Then don't.
Right. If you can't do it,
then
just don't.
Period.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Know when to say no.
Yeah.
And that's always good.
Yeah.
But always say yes to being extra.
Say yes to extra.
Say yes to extra.
Say yes to the Free Dive podcast.
Yes. Always say yes to us. It's an easy yes.
Yeah. We've had a great response so far, and I just want to thank everybody for their support.
I would love to hear from people. Like, DM us.
Leave
us some messages. Like, has there been a campaign, a humor campaign, that you have seen that you thought was especially successful, or that really caught your attention and that you can't get out of your brain?
Yeah.
I would love to hear from people. Like, or on the flip side, has there been one that totally bombed for you, that you were like, I cannot believe that got through, and that this is how this is being marketed to me?
Yeah. So let us know.
Yeah.
And keep showing up. We'll keep showing up.
And dressing up.
So thanks for being here. And we'll see you next time.